Hey guys, welcome back to Kid Icarus Uprising. Yeah, I'm not playing that on 8 intensity. What are you, nuts game? Yeah.
What are you, Emil?
Don't you want to reap the benefits?
No. I will say that I think it's an interesting way to do difficulty for your game, but still, it's,
Yeah.
Dog.
dog.
The dog's only excited that we're going after Hewdraw.
You going after South American military, Ryan?
How does the intensity settings actually work?
Basically, your hearts, which are your currency, you wager that to play on a higher difficulty. If you beat the level, the higher difficulty you play the level on, the more currency you get from beating enemies, and the better rewards you'll get by, finding treasure chests and stuff.
Better weapons, better drops, all that kind of stuff, really.
You can also open certain intensity gates that will only open if you play on a higher difficulty. Thing is if you die, not only does your intensity automatically decrease by about 1 point, you also lose all of your weapon drops become absolute ass, basically.
Yeah.
So it's a risk reward sort of system. So.
Which I like. I'm gonna just put that out there. I do like this way of handling.
Did they just flash the NES sprite at us?
Yeah,
Yes.
because we're playing an old. They did that when Medusa popped up too. They'll do that whenever we're fighting an old enemy from the NES games.
I see.
Which which happens less after Chapter 8, honestly.
Not that many players are going to, remember that.
Well, no,
No,
the
but-
original Kid Icarus did relatively well. Not superstar well, but well enough that people wanted him in stuff like Smash Brothers to begin with.
Captain N, the Game Master.
Besides that, God forbid. The original Kid Icarus did see a virtual console release, and I'm going to assume that when Smash Brothers Brawl came out, everyone had self-interest to play the original title, so they are at least familiar with some enemies.
Well, also,
Hewdraw, no.
Smash Brothers had that thing where it had demos for a bunch of games, and I think Kid Icarus was one of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not like people, even newbies, are completely ignorant to Kid Icarus. Even still, though, it's not. I feel like this game, you don't need to have played the NES game to appreciate it, because personally, I can't stand the original Kid Icarus for the NES. Fucking Underworld, man. Reapers and jumping and vertical platform. Sorry, I can't get into that.
And that's that.
We have Hewdraw,
Well,
which is actually a mistranslation of Hydra.
Yeah.
Another cool thing. Later on, we're going to be fighting the other heads. The order in which you kill the heads dictates what order you run into them in the lower parts of the level.
Yeah. So you can also determine which one you kill here, and which two you get to fight in the land sections.
Yeah.
Sorry, but which localization team misspelled Hydra?
The original NES one. They're keeping it the same for this just because continuity.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Although they do change Thanatos' name though.
Yeah.
Well, no, because they actually do call him by his mistranslation in the beginning.
Yeah, and then he changes it.
Then he changes it because the H stands for amazing.
Amazing.
Jesus.
Yeah, the game, like we said last part, the game's full of that sort of shit, which I like.
Well, if you can make fun of yourself, you'll never be short on laughs.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I
not
mean,
like
it really, the writing and dialogue especially helps in the later parts of the game where the chapters get pretty long.
Yeah, it's these sort of action. Is it possible to have a shooter beat 'em up? Whatever this sort of game is, it's inherently a little bit repetitive. Because, it's just sort of beating up dudes and beating up dudes. There's not an awful lot of puzzle, well, there's some exploration, but there's not a lot of stuff to change up the pace, so the presentation has to sort of pick up that slack for, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So it's just they're lucky that they did actually end up doing such a good job with this sort of stuff.
Yeah. It's a very arcadey style of gameplay. It does two things, and it does those two things well, but those are the only two things it does.
It plays an awful lot like Smash Brothers, actually. A 3D Smash Brothers, in a way. Sort of. Which is not surprising, because Sakurai.
Pudding.
With that said, though, the only thing I really don't like about this in terms of gameplay mechanics is that you run out of stamina if you run for too long.
You're not usually I think that's just so that you don't run away from every enemy that you fight. Usually, I'm
Yeah.
only running to get from one room of enemies to the next room or area of enemies. At the
Yeah,
very
it's just that I just recall too many situations where I'm forced to fight enemies anyway, so I can't run away even if I wanted to.
Remember, Pit, you have to use melee attacks to
Was that a Metroid?
No, it's a.
You're not supposed to talk. You're not supposed to talk about that.
that looks like a jump pad.
Get up, fall down. Fall down. I need
In any event,
Life, isn't it?
peaks and valleys, highs
what was I gonna say? Running stamina with running that's in like every game under the sun, though, isn't it?
Not an awful lot in these in Nintendo at the very least. Like Mario can run for however long.
No, I mean like when you have regular running and then you have a sprint button. That
Well,
makes
it's
you
not
run
a sprint
faster.
button. If you dash, dashing works kind of like the Kirby games actually. Only you have a stamina meter and it's in 3D. Like you flick the control pad, not the control pad, the control stick in the direction like sharply. You'll
No, Ted, that's all wrong. It's like Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
fucking rapid dash. Oh, he left. Good. What was I thinking? Crap.
Oh, good grief.
I don't think I can do this way.
Well, how many times have you jacked up the difficulty range all the way to nothing harder?
Like for the first 2 levels. You can see the max difficulty I've beaten the level on the title screen at the beginning of each part. I'm not hardcore enough to play the entire game on 9. I just don't have that sort of dedication.
You're not a
What I
veal.
actually wanted to ask before, though, is what actually gets harder when you jack the intensity up?
Enemies do more
Enemies-
damage, and there's
You have more
of
health.
them.
Oh,
And they have more health.
it's a stat scale and
Better make a point.
Yeah, enemies don't
Essentially,
really
yeah.
get. Maybe bosses do, but enemies don't really ever get new patterns or attack patterns or anything.
No, they
from
just
what
get a
I've
hell of a lot more aggressive.
right.
Yeah.
And you know what really makes it hard is because you take so much damage too.
Yeah.
You know, because like they mentioned, like enemy patterns don't really change. Is that one attack that did only an eighth damage now suddenly does a half damage?
Right, but if you can get through, say, 5 intensity without taking a hit, you can probably get through max intensity without taking a hit.
Oh yeah,
No.
you can actually. What I'm doing right now, just for the sake of getting hearts, is I'm replaying Chapter 1 over and over again on level 9 intensity.
I don't think
Yeah, Chapter 1 is relatively easy no matter what.
Yeah,
you,
I get about 10,000 to 11,000 hearts per pop. So
I see.
hit the other head.
The one thing that does make it easier, if you remember to use them, is the powers that you have on the bottom of the screen. I
Yeah, the
almost never
screen
use them
nukes.
except for boss fights because I keep forgetting I have them. But you know, you can if you get the right powers, you can get stuff like
Invincibility frames.
invincibility frames, you know, barriers, health refills, stuff like that. You know, it's just one of those things where it's.
Very long.
Am I the only one who forgets that they have those?
No,
Oh,
I
I
forget
can
they're
see
there a
why
lot too.
you'd forget that they're there. Your hand is probably covering them the whole time.
Well, it's not necessarily that. It's just I don't think to use them an awful lot.
honestly, it depends on which ones I bring with me. With that said, I always bring health recovery, and I've been actually using the Mega Laser a lot too.
The Mega Laser helps, yeah.
I keep the same power up assortment with me through every level because I got a good one. Although
What is this?
I actually do like the little mini game that they have for putting for assigning your powers. It's like Tetris, but not.
Cloud when they expire. Shoot them from a distance or
Like
melee
the
them
better
with
weapons are more. You have to put all of the weapons that you want to keep with you in the level into a little box. And
is
the
a
better weapons are
Metroid.
the better. Well, no, it's a Kabatos. You're not supposed
It's
to
a
talk about
Metroid.
You're not supposed
It's
to
a
talk
com-
about Metroids, Lewis.
It's a Metroid.
You're not supposed to talk about Metroids, Lewis.
Oh,
This game universe and that game universe have nothing to do with each other.
It's a Metroid.
They had the not Metroids in the original game too, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why they're here in the first place.
Actually,
I never
if,
got that far.
Now that I think about it, Kid Icarus was made by the same guy who made Metroid.
They came
Yeah.
out. They were made on the same engine too, and I think they came out
Yeah.
within a few days of each other. Oh no, that might be wrong. Don't quote me on that, but they were definitely made by the same exact people.
They were definitely made by Gunpei Yokoi, yeah.
Yeah. So even though we're not supposed to be talking about it, Lewis, the similarities are intentional.
Okay.
I gotta imagine that the guy who they got to do the enemy designs for this game was having a blast. Because there was just like, here, draw whatever you want. Whatever I want, whatever you want. Awesome.
Can I pretend I'm working in Shin Megami Tensei? Maybe not that much, whatever you want.
Oh, no, we'll get E for everyone.
Well, you
No,
can,
E10
but we
plus,
probably won't use those designs.
No, John, E10 plus. Extreme!
Penises everywhere.
Well, so nice to see you again.
You won't feel that way for long.
Oh, you're still alive, are you?
Yeah, the final head.
You left the middle head alive during the first part, because my dragons is something completely different. So I'm guessing
Yeah. They all have different personalities.
yeah.
Like, one's
See,
really
I'll- see-
nice, one's sort of a dumbass, and the other's sort of... I forget what the third one is. I don't think I've ever gotten that third one.
Why couldn't we kill the... Why couldn't we, like, leave the nice one alive?
We
Well,
did
they
leave
all
the
have
nice
to.
one
They all have to die.
Yeah, they work for Medusa.
Oh.
Also, just if anyone from watching is curious, yes, there are occasional points with the audio hiccups. That's because of 3DS Recorder. Nothing I can really do about that. Sorry. Anyway, continue.
A question though, how are you capturing this?
3DS Recorder.
No. I mean, are you using the actual software that?
Yeah, I am using the actual software.
Oh,
Why?
okay,
What
okay,
do you
okay.
use? Do you?
I use Fraps.
Oh, you use Fraps on the software. That
Yeah.
seems redundant.
Well, it's lossless.
Okay. Well, I have a lossless codec on the recorder, so.
And that's the end of him.
I
Well-
wonder what he was going to say.
Technically, the recorder would, doesn't necessarily record everything that it, like, everything losslessly. That it would, how do I say it?
Well, it better be if 5 minutes take 50 fucking gigs.
What I mean is, even if the recorder,
Don't tell me to
Let's-
take a break a game. I'm gonna play however much I want. You
Oh,
can't tell
my
me what.
hands.
You can't tell me what to do.
I
You
hate
don't
it
know
when
my
I hate it when game companies do that. They try to remind you to
you
play
mean Nintendo.
responsibly.
You mean Nintendo does that?
It's like, stop that! You're not my mom.
Wait, Lewis. Sorry, you should take a break from recording commentary every now and then.
Yeah.
Go
No,
outside,
actually,
get some fresh
I
air.
think Metal Gear Solid 4 does that too.